Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about this. Wi-Fi. But in reality, we're going to be trying to figure out the best Wi-Fi as we start this series. Stay tuned. Alright you guys, so in this new series we're really trying to figure out what is the best Wi-Fi. In order to try to figure out what the best Wi-Fi, I really mean which one is the best performing Wi-Fi, obviously with value and stuff driven into it. But anyways, we're going to try to find out what's the best performing Wi-Fi within value. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's get some of the quick stuff out the way. All the stuff we're covering in this series was all bought and paid for with our own money. This stuff is not sponsored, no one gave us any of this stuff. We're just going to literally let the numbers speak for themselves, okay? The second thing is, in this lineup, we're really just going to focus on, or let's call it consumer to prosumer grade stuff. What I mean by that is stuff you buy at your, I don't know, Best Buy or whatever people buy their stuff from, to prosumer, meaning some entry level, I want to say enterprise or small business type stuff. What we're not going to include in here is the really high-end stuff from stuff like Meraki or Cisco, enterprise Cisco, not the Linksys Cisco, because nobody at home or probably watching this channel is going to want to be using their Meraki or Aeronet licenses and stuff on a yearly basis to just use at home, right? That just doesn't make any sense because that's going to be really expensive. So anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and go connect this specific access point to the cable all the way over there, and then we'll be right back. All right, you guys, so let's go over some of the stuff that we're going to be testing here. So I just connected it. Obviously, it's going to take time to boot and provision and stuff like that. So anyways, this computer here that we're using right now is a 2016 MacBook Pro, and it's not connected wired, meaning it's going to be using wireless. For anybody that cares, it's a 15-inch 2016 MacBook Pro with 16 gigs of memory, and I can't remember the CPU, but if you really care, we can throw it up. The distance between this computer and the access point sitting over there on the table, which I threw up some pictures on, is roughly around 21 feet as measured by the trusty DeWalt laser distance measure, if you trust that thing. But it's really roughly around 21 feet. And then the distance between the access point to the switch that it's connected to is roughly 76 feet, using the trusty Klein, I think it was Scout Pro measuring tool or something like that. Scout Pro measuring tool says it's roughly around 76 feet, which I found to be pretty accurate as an installer. It worked generally pretty well. And the distance between the switch and the Mac Mini that is installed in another room as a server is roughly around 91 feet. So if that gives you any, if you guys care, that's what's going on. And this cable here is not really high quality cable or anything. It's whatever builder grade cable they install when they build the house. So it's Cat 5e, it's not Cat 6, it's not shielded, it's just straight up cable. All right, we're gonna also be, let's go over some of the stuff we're gonna be testing here. We're gonna be testing a single node performance. This is not a mesh unit. If you do have the Ubiquiti mesh access point, you can configure them to uplink to this access point. But this access point in particular is not a mesh unit, but can serve as an uplink. So for something like that, we're going to be testing single node performance. We're going to be using iperf. We're going to take the best 3 scores out of 10 and just average them out. That way, we kind of throw out the outliers and try to get the best performance. Okay. We're also going to add maybe some concurrent streams. I think maybe you can probably find like 3 devices, iPads of what people do the most: stream Netflix, Prime Video, Hulu, whatever they do. We're gonna do the same test again, but except add 3 streaming devices, and then we're going to be generating a 10 gig file and then just upload it to the iperf server. It's not a high-end server or anything. It's just a Mac Mini, like I said earlier. And then we're going to be doing up, down, and try to figure out what the best thing goes. All right, so remember, some of these things are going to be measured in seconds. Some of these things are going to be measured in megabits per second. So without further ado, let me check it out. All right, you guys, so as it's booting up, let's talk about what's actually going to be covered here. So this access point we just plugged in, it's booting up, all right? So this access point is connected to the switch, hardwire. This switch is connected to this Mac Mini hardwire, okay? And these are all connected at 1 gig full duplex, and not high quality cable or anything, not shielded. It's just bigger grade Cat 5e or whatever's in this house when they built it. So like I said, we're going to be using iperf, wherever it is. We're going to be using iperf to kind of measure this, and we're going to be doing the best 3 scores out of 10 to try to minimize the outliers, to try to figure out which one can really get the best. So like I said, to double check on this, make sure we're still connected here. It's connected on channel 36 on 80 megahertz, and this is auto config. This was not configured, just whatever we booted up with and did a scan and said, hey, this is the best one. All right, so here we go. So what we're gonna be doing here is let's create a for loop for I1 into 10, so that way it runs it 10 times. Do iperf to, as a client to the server 192.168.2.15. So this is going to run it 10 times, all right? Whoa, all right, what did we forget here? Do syntax for I in 1 for I. Oh, well, clearly it would definitely help if I spelled it correctly. Sometimes not necessarily the best at spelling. Ah, man, that was terrible. I may have to cut that part out. I'm not even sure how it's gonna work. So it's really for I in that. That way it runs it 10 times. All right, so like I said, while this test is running, we'll go ahead and talk about this a little bit. So the reason why we're doing iperf, like I said, test the connection between this all the way to here. And with this connection being wired and this connection being wired, the weakest point really is this wireless link between the computer and the access point. So this computer, it's not the latest generation, but like I said, it's 2016 MacBook Pro Retina with a touch bar. But anyways, the reason we're doing this is what I see is a lot of people, they run tests and they run it out to the internet. That goes all the way out here to speed test. So all of this stuff right here is kind of in the same VLAN, and these are the only items inside of this LAN or inside that VLAN. So there should be no traffic, and what we're really testing is this network here. If you run the test all the way out to speed test, you're really testing, your weakest link is probably going to be either your wireless connection here or your internet or your connection to the cloud there. So that doesn't really tell you a lot about the network performance of this device. So like I said, let's test this, see what it comes out with, and we'll go with that. All right. So we're going to also do a speed test here just to show you how fast this network can be on wireless. But for now, let's go look at what it says here. So here, so far, we're getting roughly around 504 megabits per second, 563, 550, 516, 489, 509, 491, 516. So we're getting somewhere around close to 450s to 500. So like I said, since we're going to take the best, since we're going to be taking the best 3, let's grab the best 3 here. So the best 3 here is going to be, let's see, what is the best 3 here? What did we say was the best 3? 563, 516, and 517. So 563 plus 516 plus 517. We'll divide that by 3. Ooh, looks like your formula is missing a. Wow, man, clearly getting killed out here. So according to this test, we've gotten somewhere around 532 megabits per second on this wireless connection. So just in case you didn't know, that is actually really good. So let me go ahead and go set up this concurrent access streams here. Actually, no, let's go do that last, because I can do that while we're testing the wired performance of uplink here. So we're going to be testing the 10 gig file, and just to show you how big the file is, let's do an ls on what do we call this thing, test file that we created earlier? See, it's roughly 10 gig file. And what we're going to do is for I in, let's make sure we spell that right, 1 through 10, run this 10 times. And there, do time SCP, and to, yes, SCP may not be the best, you can use FTP or rsync, whatever, but since I already have the RSA key set up, it adds overhead and stuff, but we're gonna just be using SCP. All right, if you wanna go to war in the comments, go for it, but for ease of use, we're gonna go with this. .ssh, let's use ID RSA2, and let's use drop zone, I think is the username, 192.168.2.15, and let's drop this file to temp and test file. Actually, we don't need to put that because we already have the test file. Actually, let's take the test file and let's SCP the test file here, local, to the server. And in order to close this, let's do that, and then done. I think we got that command right. There we go. All right, so what this is really doing here is it's uploading this test file, I'll stop moving it around, from this local computer to the Mac Mini server here, which is a fake 10 gig file, and then we'll see how long it takes. I think we ran a time in there, so it should show the time every time it completes. So as this is going, I'll go ahead and set up the other devices for streaming, or get them ready, not set them up, because this is gonna take some time. Let's speed our way through this. I'll fast forward it in the recording, that way it comes out really quick and you don't have to sit here for, I don't know, 20 minutes doing this. Here we go. All right, you guys, so it looks like the test of uploading a 10 gig file, that one has come to an end. And for this, I'm really only just gonna use the whole numbers. I know people are gonna kill me in the comments, but let's just stick with the whole numbers, make our life just a smidge easier, you know? So what I did here was take the real time that it took, added the minutes to the seconds, and we got this, all right? So obviously 1 minute, 60 seconds, I added all the seconds in here. So since we said we would take the best of 3 and then average them out. So in this case, since we're uploading a 10 gig file, the less time it took, the better it is. So here, the least amount of time is going to be, let's see here, we have 70s, 80s, let's definitely remove, let's go with the 60s. So 69, up. 2 68s and 167. So this is 67 plus 68 plus 68. And then divide that by 3, so we take the average. So it took roughly around 67, let's just go 68 seconds to upload a 10 gig file from this computer, this laptop, over the internet, or over the wireless connection to the Mac Mini. All right, so now in this case, so the second point, let's upload, or we just upload. So let's download actually in this case. Let's download the file, that 10 gig file to the local computer. In order to do that, the easiest way is I'm just going to go ahead and reverse this command. So the test file here, upload it from there, dot means here locally. Actually, just to make sure that we overwrite it, let's just say here, and let's just do that, 10 seconds. All right, that's not too bad. So the command, in case you didn't know, SCP is you really do source and then destination. So here is the source on the server, destination dot, which means here. All right, so let's go ahead and kick this off. And as that's going, I'll be right back. All right, you guys, I'm back. It looks like it's just in time to finish the test. So 120 plus, like I said, we're only taking whole numbers here. So 20. So the best of 3 here is 120, 122, and 124, looks like, right? 20 plus 122 plus 124. Divide that by 3. Looks like it took roughly 120, 22, and 24. Yeah, 120, 22, and 24. 120, 22, and 24 divided by 3. So it took roughly almost 2 times longer for the download speed than to the upload. That's interesting. We'll have to test that. I would test it with iperf, but I have a socket binding issue and I can't seem to figure out what that is. Yes, I know it's a problem. But I don't want to use my older computer because it doesn't have as good of a network card as this one. I'm sorry, but this is the best Wi-Fi computer that I have right now, so we got to test with this. But let's see. All right, so that's where we got to. So now let's set up for streams. All right, so right now nothing else is on this UAP Nano HD. So let me go ahead and set up some streams for this and we'll get back to it. Anyways, as you can see why I do this, we'll talk about it. Why we have 3 taking the best out of 10 is because there's some, it can go up and down. It looks like, you know, there could be interference, there could be other stuff on the network, there could be other people using the network, but people walking through, maybe there's something that walks past. Anyways, the point is, by doing 10 and taking the best, we're taking the absolute best that we could get. So let's go here and get this connected to UAP. This is an iPad UAP Nano HD. Get this iPad here. Don't worry, these were in airplane mode. Most of them. Okay, we'll put this one. Let's connect this one also in UAP Nano HD. And we'll connect my little kids off airplane mode. And connect this mess to UAP Nano HD. So what this is kind of simulating here is if you have a household with kids or whatnot, they're probably using at least 1 or 2 devices and they're going to be streaming YouTube, Netflix, whatever. So on the ones here, let's see, do we have Prime Video? Let's set up Prime Video here, Prime Video here. Let's set up some Netflix here. So here's Prime Video. We're connected. I don't know how much you can see it, but we'll just play, I don't know, we'll just play the Avengers here. Start over. All right, can't show you too much of that because there's probably gonna be some copyright issues or whatnot. But anyways, the point is that let's set this to HD, make sure it's playing HD. All right, HD Marvel Avengers playing here on that network. We're gonna put it down. We'll go here and we will play, I don't know, whatever's here. Mission Impossible Fallout on Prime. Let's make sure this is playing in HD. HD is highlighted. Bam. All right, that HD stream is going. And we'll go here to Netflix. We'll go to kids. Actually, I'm not sure how much of the kids' content is in HD, so let's just go back to, how do I get back to a normal profile? Exit kids. And let's play, come on. I don't know, what do people watch these days? Let's just play one movie here. This is in HD. Let's hit play. Make sure it plays from HD. HD, come on, yep, there it goes, HD. All right, another movie going here, HD. All right, so now we have 3 iPads streaming HD movies from Prime and Netflix, and let's run that other test again. What was the other test that we made? This test, the iperf test. So going back here, so we're doing it 10 times. iperf is a client to the same iperf server. 10 times, and we're gonna see what comes out best. 3 streams going, here we go. Make sure we're still connected to the same network here. Yep, UAP Nano HD. Go here, let's connect to the Nano HD. Let's look at the number of, nope, clients. All right, so if you look at the Nano HD here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 devices connected. This is the computer, this is the iPad, that's the iPad, that's the iPad. All right, we got 3 iPad streams going. Apparently, that is not a lot of connections because it seems that the performance is unfazed. Well, I mean, obviously this thing's designed for tons of users, but maybe we need to find more devices. I'm sorry, guys, that's all the devices that we have, so we're gonna have to make do with that. Maybe in the future, when we get some more devices and stuff, we'll set it up there, but that's all we got. All right, so going back to, where is it? Going back to here, let's take the best 3. In this case, since we're talking about megabits per second, let's take the highest 3. 536, 536, 528, and 523. All right, 536, 536 plus 528 plus 536, what did I say, 523 and 528. 528 plus 523, divide that by 3. So if you look at it with 3 streams going, I'm sure if you loaded it up with maybe, I don't know, 50 streams, maybe different, but with 3 streams plus iperf, it's almost negligible. I mean, this access point is rated really intense. So I mean it's pretty high rated access point, 4x4 multi-user MIMO, enterprise grade Wi-Fi, like I said. Anyways, so let's see if we can close this thing up here. I gotta go unplug it, but since we have it up right here, let's go look at this. So what we did here, let's take a quick recap. Or actually, if you just joined us and skipped all the jibber jabber, this is what we came down to. So we did a wire performance test, ran iperf 10 times, took the average of the 3 best scorers, 532 as a client. We did the same thing with 3 concurrent iPad streams, HD streams of Netflix and Prime Video. It's almost the same performance, negligible. And then we uploaded a 10 gig file to the iperf server, which is really just a Mac Mini. It's like a really, really old Mac Mini with the SSD. But anyways, that took roughly around 68 seconds. And then downloading the same 10 gig file took roughly around 122 seconds. So that's actually really good considering we are on Wi-Fi, okay? Just to wrap this up here, just to give you guys a quick, let's just do a speed test out to the internet and see what happens. So if we run a speed test out to the internet, obviously I'm gonna have to gray that out. Let's run a speed test out to the internet and see what happens. Man, that's not fast. 5-second ping, we're getting somewhere around 400-ish, 450-ish megabits per second. Remember, the iperf, you gotta realize at this point, the streams are still going. All right, let me cancel those out. Still going. Close that. Let's put this mess in airplane mode. Turn that off. Let's go take this. Still going. Close this. Put this in airplane mode. All right. Still going. Put this in airplane mode. All right, now none of the streams are going. Let's run that again. See if it makes a difference. Actually, it went down. Well, upload went up. Not sure what's going on there, but let's just run it 3 times for good measure. So as you saw the first time, it's still in the 400s, down end. Let's see if we can get to 400s. Remember, this is not exact science because we're testing out to the internet, but remember this is a 2016 MacBook Pro Retina with touch bar, going all the way over there, 21 feet, clear line of sight distance, no barriers, to the UAP Nano HD, and this is the performance that we're getting, all right? That seems more realistic. Most of the times I run it, I get something along like this. So, and we're connected wirelessly here. This is 462 down. That's pretty fast for a home internet. 446 up. That's pretty fast considering this is Wi-Fi 2 over there. All right, so we'll just take a quick snapshot of this. We'll put it there. Let's just wrap this up, guys. All right, so remember, we're talking about this. I'm not gonna go and plug it because I have to go over there, but we're talking about this access point here, which is a Nano HD. This is probably extreme overkill for a regular home, but I've been using this setup in the house ever since it first came out. I don't know how long ago it came out, but for a long time and had no issues. This is the full Unify setup here. Not all full because there's low bounce between other ISP providers using non-Unify equipment. But anyways, it comes into a USG, goes into a US 750 watt 48 port switch, and then in this test, it came to just this access point. I have multiple access points deployed here, but in this test, we tested just the single one. And for the people that have issues with, they got to restart their router or any of that stuff anytime, all the time. You don't have that issue with this, but remember, you can't just go out and buy just this access point. You need, you don't really need the USG, I guess, but it would be nice if you had the whole stack, which is the USG, and that's really all you need because you can PoE inject this thing. But let's just go with the USG, a switch, and this. So this is roughly 180 bucks, but you can pick it up at BH or some other places, especially used for a lot cheaper. Let's just say about 120. USG to get the whole thing, that's about 99 bucks. That's the original USG and a small $99 switch. So roughly around, I want to say 400 bucks, you can get one full setup with this Unify Nano HD, assuming you buy a used one. If you want to buy a new one, you probably take a little bit more. But what you see now these days is like a gaming type. Here, let's go look some of that up. Let's go look up gaming router, see what comes up. Who knows? All right, guys, so look, this Asus ROG Raptor is $400+ and it just looks like some alien spacecraft looking thing. This looks like 250. But like I said, you really don't need this. If you really want this, that's fine. But it doesn't need to be anything super alien looking like this to get some fun out of it. But like I said, getting something like this is definitely going to be a better deal for most people, especially since it's an all-in-one device. If you get this Nano HD, you're going to need everything. You need the router, the switch. In this case, if you buy the single unit, it comes with the PoE injector, so that's fine. But anyways, like we've shown here, since we started with the Ubiquiti Nano HD, this is going to be kind of our baseline one. In the next episode, I'm going to try to get the Google Nest Wi-Fi and then upload that here with us, and then we'll see how that compares to something like this. So in case you missed the deal I posted previously, you can go to Costco, Google Wi-Fi Nest. I think there's a 4-pack on sale right now for roughly around $300. It's out of stock right now. But I did see that if you go to the store, you can pick it up in the store. So you can get a 4-pack for roughly around $300. And for me, since the quote-unquote IT guy or managed services installer and all that fun stuff, people always come to me with questions and stuff about networking or just IT stuff in general. So we're gonna test this out because I really can't tell people that I have experience with this Google Wi-Fi and all this other stuff. People want me to recommend to them because I never use it because we really use other stuff here. So stay tuned for episode 2, 3, 4, I don't know how many it goes, but that's what we got. So Ubiquiti Nano HD, iperf 532, this is in member megabits, and this. So Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys next time.